galaxy was vast and full of life, but even in that endless ocean of stars, there was one species that everyone spoke about in whispers: humans. They were not the oldest, they were not the most advanced, but they were different. For centuries, humanity had walked the line between peace and fury, and the galaxy always feared the day they would cross it. In the shining halls of the Galactic Council, alien delegates debated trade laws, borders, and resource disputes. Their voices rose and fell like storms. But whenever the topic of humans came up, the room grew tense. Some called Earth a stubborn but useful partner. Others called them dangerous and unpredictable. Everyone remembered fragments of history, wars fought with desperate bravery, battles where humans stood against impossible odds and somehow survived. But in recent decades, humanity had been quiet, too quiet. Their fleets patrolled only their own borders, their leaders spoke little, and their colonies kept to themselves. To many aliens, it felt like the humans were fading. But to the wise, silence was not weakness, it was warning. On the colony world of Clyra 7, an old alien trader leaned close to his apprentice. His skin shimmered in the dim light as he whispered, "Never trust human silence, child. When they are quiet, it means the storm is building." Across the stars, whispers spread. Small things began to happen. Trade routes cut off without explanation. Human ships refusing inspections. Factories working day and night. Yet the Council ignored it. Their arrogance blinded them. Inside the chambers of the Galactic Council, an insectoid delegate laughed. His mandibles clicked as he mocked. "Humans? They are tired. They are finished. The fire inside them has burned out." Laughter rippled through the chamber, but not all joined in. A few remembered the stories: the Siege of Sol, the Battle of Orion Gate, the desperate human fleets that never surrendered even when outnumbered 100-1. Among them was Admiral Zoran of the Vithari. His species had fought humans centuries ago, and they had nearly lost everything. He stood slowly, his voice sharp. "Do not mistake silence for defeat. Do not forget who they are." But his warning was ignored. The Council voted, and once again, human complaints were brushed aside. Far from the Council, on a small human mining colony, something happened that would change everything. A convoy of human freighters was ambushed by ships carrying the colors of a powerful alien empire. The freighters carried families, workers, children. The attackers claimed it was a mistake, but everyone knew the truth. It was no accident, it was a test. The news spread fast, and when it reached Earth, the world seemed to stop. Crowds filled the streets, silent, grieving, angry. The names of the dead were read on every broadcast. Faces of lost children appeared on screens across colonies. No human forgot that moment. It was the spark on dry grass, the first crack in the dam. In a quiet room beneath Earth's capital, leaders of the Human Federation sat in silence. They did not shout, they did not argue. They listened to the recording of the attack again and again. No words were spoken, only the sound of destruction. Finally, one voice broke the silence. It was the President of Earth, her voice calm but cold. "We have been patient long enough." Out among the stars, alien merchants began to notice strange things. Old human warships once kept in museums were being moved. Shipyards glowed brighter than ever before. Entire moons were turned into factories. Some dismissed it as paranoia, but others felt the shift in the air. On the desert world of Harun, a group of alien mercenaries gathered in a tavern. One leaned across the table and muttered, "I heard humans are building again," another laughed. "They are weak. Let them build. It will not matter." But a third, an old scarred veteran, slammed his drink down and growled, "Fools, you do not understand when." The galaxy believed humans would stay silent, but silence never lasted forever. The attack on the freighters had burned into every human heart like fire. Mothers wept, fathers clenched fists, children stared at the names of the dead and asked why no one was punished. It was not just an accident, it was a wound that cut too deep. On Mars Colony, a crowd gathered in the central square. Thousands stood shoulder to shoulder, candles glowing in the cold night. The image of the destroyed freighters hung above them on massive screens. No one spoke. No one needed to. The silence itself was a scream. In the underground war rooms of Earth, the spark became fire. Generals spread star maps across the tables, red markers glowing where colonies had been attacked. Old veterans leaned forward, their eyes sharp with memory. They had fought alien fleets before, and they knew what was coming. One general whispered, "They wanted us weak. They thought we would bow. They have no idea what they've woken." Factories on Luna roared to life. Giant machines cut metal day and night. Workers did not sleep. Engineers reactivated war drones buried in storage for decades. Weapons once sealed under treaties were pulled into the light. A secret fleet gathered in the asteroid belt. Ships painted black, their engines silent. Their weapons hummed like predators ready to strike. Pilots trained with cold focus, remembering the faces of lost families. News spread among the colonies. On Titan, miners dropped tools and volunteered for service. On Europa, students filled recruitment offices. On Earth, entire stadiums overflowed with people shouting one word: enough. But the Galactic Council laughed. They sent messages of regret, claiming the attack was a mistake. They offered no justice, no punishment, only empty words. An insectoid delegate sneered during a council session. "Humans cry like children. They will do nothing." His words echoed in the chamber. But far away, human fleets already prepared. On a hidden station near Proxima, a young human officer named Elias stood before his squad. His voice was steady. "We are the spark. We are the answer to every insult, every life taken. When the order comes, we do not hesitate." His soldiers nodded, their eyes burning with the same fire. The aliens who had attacked the freighters sent a message to humanity, a cold taunt. "You are weak. You cannot fight us." The message spread across the stars, but instead of fear, it was met with silence. Humans did not answer with words. They answered with movement. Deep within the mountains of Earth, hidden vaults opened, revealing weapons of terrifying design, rail cannons capable of tearing apart capital ships, stealth drones designed to vanish into shadows, soldiers trained in silence preparing for a war they knew was coming. An old historian on an alien world spoke to his students. His voice trembled as he remembered ancient human wars. "They are patient, but when the spark catches fire, no storm can stop them." His students laughed, but his eyes were haunted. He had seen humans fight, and he knew one night, across human space, a single signal was sent. It was not a speech, it was not a demand, it was one word, whispered on every channel, across every fleet, to every soldier and worker. "Ready." Aliens mocked when they heard of it, thinking it was meaningless. But those who had fought humans before felt the truth. The spark had caught fire, and the fire would spread. On the edge of human territory, a fleet of alien raiders moved through the void, confident, laughing. But then their scanners picked up something strange. Ships, dozens of them. Black and silent, the raiders tried to run, but the stars lit up. Their fleet was gone within minutes, not one survivor left to carry the warning. Back in the council, reports began to arrive. Ships missing, patrols destroyed, colonies whispering of shadows in the dark. The delegates shouted at each other, denying, mocking, panicking. But the truth was clear. Humans were no longer silent. In the war room on Earth, the president stood before the generals. Her eyes burned with cold fire. "This is the spark. From this moment, the galaxy will know. We did not want war, but they brought it to us. Now we will answer." And so the spark spread like wildfire, from one colony to another, from one ship to another. Humanity, once quiet, was now awake. The galaxy had mocked, ignored, and tested them. But soon it would learn, the spark was only the beginning. The Galactic Council chamber was a hall of light and power. Thousands of voices often rose here, arguing, demanding, accusing. Yet on this day, silence pressed down like a weight. For the first time in centuries, the Council did not feel safe. Reports had come in from the border, patrol fleets missing, outposts gone silent. Merchants whispered of black ships in the dark, hunting without mercy. Delegates shouted at each other, calling them rumors, but everyone knew the truth. Humanity had moved. At the center of the chamber, a tall insectoid delegate slammed his claws against the table. His mandibles clicked furiously. "This is nothing but fear-mongering. Humans are weak, their fleets are old, they cannot fight us." His words echoed, but they were met with uneasy silence. Then the doors opened, and the human ambassador entered. He walked slowly, his steps steady. The entire hall froze. Hundreds of eyes watched him, waiting for anger, for threats, for demands. But he said nothing. The ambassador placed a small case on the tab. Leon pushed it forward. Without a word, he turned and began to leave. Coward! One alien shouted. Others laughed, jeering. But their laughter died as the case opened by itself. A projection filled the chamber. Images of burning freighters, families screaming, children clutching each other as ships tore apart around them. Every face of the dead glowed above the council table. The voices in the chamber faltered. Even the loudest fell silent. At the end of the projection, one sentence appeared in red letters. We asked for peace. You gave us ashes. Now listen to the silence break. The hall erupted in chaos. Some shouted for war against humanity. Others demanded peace. Others simply trembled in fear. The council was breaking. Admiral Zoran of the Vithari stood, his scarred face grim. He spoke with a heavy voice. You fools, you mock them, but you forget what they are. I fought them once, and I tell you this, if humans have decided to rise, no power in this galaxy can stop them. But his warning was drowned by noise. Species blamed each other. Empires refused responsibility. Some secretly began preparing their own fleets, hoping to defend themselves if humanity came. In hidden corners of the chamber, spies whispered into comms, reporting back to their empires. The panic spread like poison. Trust was gone. Unity was shattered. The council was breaking apart before the war even began. Far away, human fleets moved like shadows, silent and unseen. Aliens begged the council for answers, but the council had none. One night, as the delegates argued, a message arrived. It came from an alien patrol fleet near the human border. The message lasted only seconds, a single scream followed by silence. Then nothing. The council chamber froze. They are coming, Admiral Zoran whispered. But even then, many refused to believe. They mocked, they denied, they thought the humans wows. You're bluffing. On Earth, however, no one was bluffing. In vast hangars beneath oceans and mountains, thousands of ships were ready. Generals spoke quietly. Soldiers listened. Civilians volunteered in. The first strike did not begin with thunder. It began with silence. On the edge of alien territory, patrol fleets drifted through the stars, bored and careless. Their captains laughed at human threats. They believed the rumors were lies. They thought humanity was weak. But then the stars changed. Without warning, ships appeared from the void, black as shadows. Their engines gave off no light, no sound. They moved like predators in the dark. The alien patrol barely had time to raise shields before the first shot came. It was not a normal weapon. It was something old, something deadly. A single beam cut across space and an entire cruiser vanished in fire. The rest of the fleet panicked. Their sensors failed. Their comms filled with static. They fired blindly into the dark, but every shot missed. Human ships moved with terrifying precision. They did not waste bullets. They did not roar or taunt. They simply struck and disappeared. One by one, alien ships were torn apart. A patrol fleet of 50 ships was reduced to wreckage in less than 7 minutes. The survivors screamed across emergency channels, begging for help. Their voices reached nearby systems, but then went silent. The council received the reports, and panic rippled through the chamber. For the first time in centuries, an entire fleet had been erased in a single night, but this was only the beginning. On the desert world of Karun 5, a proud alien garrison woke to alarms. Hundreds of soldiers rushed to defense lines. Ships scrambled to launch. Then the sky cracked open. Human dropships fell like burning meteors. Soldiers cheered, believing they could hold the line. They had numbers, walls, and weapons. But when the dropships opened, silence fell. Humans walked out in armor black as night, weapons glowing with energy that no alien had ever seen. They moved together like a single creature. Their shots precise, their steps unstoppable. The defenders broke within hours. Commanders screamed for reinforcements, but by the time help arrived, Karun 5 was already silent. News spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Entire systems were whispering. Merchants vanished on human trade routes. Patrol fleets stopped sending signals. Colonies near human space went dark. The council demanded answers, but none came. Inside the human war rooms, generals studied every strike, every move. Their eyes cold, their voices steady. One whispered, "The galaxy wanted to test our patience. Now we will show them the price." The next target was Boulder, a border fortress belonging to one of the largest empires. It was considered unbreakable, with defenses built to stop entire armadas. Yet one night, human fleets appeared outside its range, silent and waiting. The defenders mocked them, sending taunts across comms. "Run back to Earth, primitives. This fortress cannot fall." But the humans did not answer. Instead, they released something new. Dozens of drones, small as shadows, poured into space. They moved too fast for scanners, slipping past shields. Each carried a charge powerful enough to tear through hulls. The fortress lasted only 2 hours. Its walls cracked, its fleets burned, and by dawn the human flag floated above its ruins. The galaxy was in shock. No one had expected this. They thought humanity would fight small battles, defend colonies, maybe seek revenge. But this was not defense. This was war. In the council chamber, chaos grew. Delegates shouted. Some demanded surrender, others demanded retaliation. But no one agreed. No one trusted each other. Empires accused each other of helping humans. Friends became enemies overnight. Admiral Zoran stood once again, his voice heavy. "This is only their first strike. You cannot imagine what comes next." But still, many refused to believe. They thought humanity would stop after a few victories. They were wrong. On the frontier, survivors whispered of the battles. They spoke of ships that killed without being seen, of soldiers who... The first strike had shaken the galaxy, but the firestorm was still to come. On the borders of the Zelthar Empire, fleets gathered in the thousands. Commanders shouted, engines roared, weapons glowed bright across the void. It was said to be the largest armada assembled in centuries. They believed sheer numbers would crush humanity's rebellion before it spread further. Alien admirals laughed in their war rooms. One declared proudly, "Humans are clever but small. They can hide in shadows, yes, but against this firepower they will break like glass." His generals cheered, but beneath the cheers lay unease. Stories of vanishing patrols and destroyed fortresses still haunted them. The galaxy watched. Billions tuned in to live broadcasts, screens lighting up in every world. Everyone wanted to see the humans fall, but the humans did not arrive with fear. When their fleets emerged from hyperspace, they came not as prey, but as predators. Thousands of ships spread across the void in perfect formation. Black hulls shimmered with strange energy fields. Weapons pulsed with deadly light. At the front, a single human dreadnought led the charge, its name painted in white across the dark hull. Resolve. The battle began with silence. Then, like thunder, the void erupted. Alien fleets opened fire first. Thousands of beams lit the stars. Entire sectors glowed with energy storms. Explosions shook space itself. But the human fleet did not scatter. They did not panic. Instead, they moved as one, their formations shifting like waves, absorbing fire, redirecting, countering. Then humanity answered. Rail cannons roared. Beams lanced through the dark. Drones swarmed forward in black clouds, striking with terrifying precision. Entire alien cruisers vanished in bursts of fire. Shields cracked, hulls shattered. Commanders screamed as ships fell faster than they could count. On the bridge of the dreadnought Resolve, Admiral Kane stood tall, his voice calm. Firestorm Protocol, full release. At his command, the human fleet unleashed weapons no one had seen before. Massive energy projectiles ripped through capital ships. Mines detonated across enemy formations. Stealth drones tore engines apart from the inside. The alien armada began to crumble, but still they fought back. The Zelthar flagship sent desperate orders. "Hold the line, they are only humans." Their fleets surged forward, claws and fire striking at the human front. For a moment, space became chaos, ships colliding, flames tearing across the void, and then came the human counter. From deep behind their lines, a hidden fleet uncloaked, striking the aliens from the rear. Thousands of alien ships found themselves trapped, surrounded, crushed, torn apart. The screams on the comms filled the void. Billions watched in silence as the broadcast continued. They saw human ships cutting through fleets 3 times their size. They saw precision, unity, and firepower no one believed humanity had. The laughter of admirals died, replaced by fear. By the 3rd hour, the armada was broken. By the 5th, it was gone. The firestorm had burned everything. When the smoke cleared, the stars were littered with wreckage. Thousands of alien ships drifted lifeless. Only a handful escaped to carry the tale. And at the center of it all, the human fleet stood victorious, not broken, not even weakened. In the Galactic Council, silence reigned. Delegates stared at the battle feeds, their faces pale. Some whispered prayers, others trembled. One insectoid delegate finally whispered, "They should not have won. This is impossible." But Admiral Zoran only shook his head, his voice grim. "It is not impossible. It is human." Across the galaxy, fear spread. No species laughed anymore. No one mocked humanity now. The fur. E-Storm had shown the truth. When humans fought, they fought to win. And when they snapped, nothing could survive the storm. On Earth, the president spoke to her people, her face calm, her words sharp. "We did not seek this war, but they brought it to us. Today we showed the galaxy that humanity does not kneel. Today we stand, and tomorrow we rise higher." And so the firestorm ended, but its flames spread everywhere. Across alien worlds, leaders panicked, civilians whispered, armies prepared. The galaxy had thought humanity was weak, but now they saw the truth. The storm had only just begun, the firestorm had ended, but its flames spread far across the galaxy. Entire empires trembled, entire councils shook. Yet one empire refused to bow, the Dravari Dominion, the oldest and most powerful empire of all, stood tall among the stars. Their fleets stretched across hundreds of systems, their armies numbered in billions. Their rulers had declared for centuries, "No enemy can break us." Now they believed it was their turn to crush humanity. In the golden halls of the Dravari throne world, the emperor spoke with pride, his voice deep and commanding. "The humans are nothing but fireflies. They burn bright, but they burn out fast. We are the sun, and the sun does not fall." His generals cheered, his admirals bowed, yet deep inside fear gnawed at them. They had seen the firestorm. They had seen entire armadas vanish in hours, but pride blinded them. The Dominion gathered the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever seen. 10,000 warships, dreadnoughts larger than cities, carriers holding endless waves of fighters, fortresses ringed with shields thicker than planets. They gathered at the heart of their empire, waiting for humanity to come, and humanity came. The human fleet appeared not with 10,000 ships, but with only 3,000, smaller, fewer, weaker. At least in the eyes of the Dominion. The Emperor laughed when he saw the reports. "They dare challenge us with so little? Crush them." The order was given, the battle began. The Dominion struck first, their fleet spread wide, beams and cannons lighting the void. The stars themselves seemed to shake under the power. For a moment, the humans disappeared in the storm, but then the storm parted. Human ships moved as one, weaving through fire with impossible precision. Their weapons tore open capital ships in single shots. Their drones swarmed like locusts, overwhelming fighters. Their stealth cruisers slipped behind enemy lines, striking command ships before anyone realized they were there. The Dominion fought with numbers. Humans fought with unity. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Resolve, his eyes sharp, his voice calm. "Target their flagships, cut off their heads." Human weapons roared, and one by one, the Dominion's command ships exploded. Entire fleets drifted without orders, collapsing into chaos. Still, the Dominion fought. Their numbers were overwhelming, but humanity revealed something new. From deep behind their lines, massive carriers opened, releasing weapons the galaxy had only heard of in myths. Planet crackers, siege beams, weapons built not for defense but for domination. One shot from a human siege beam tore through 3 Dominion fortresses at once. Shields collapsed, stations burned. The Dravari generals screamed as centuries of pride were reduced to ashes in minutes. The galaxy watched in horror. Broadcasts showed the impossible, the mighty Dominion, the unbreakable giant, falling piece by piece to a species they once called weak. On the throne world, panic spread. The Emperor roared for his armies to fight harder, but his voice no longer carried power. His fleets were burning, his fortresses breaking, his empire crumbling. At last, the human fleet reached the throne world itself, the skies filled with fire. Dravari defenses opened with everything they had. For a moment, the planet itself seemed to glow with the heat of war, but the humans did not stop. Dreadnought Resolve descended through the storm, leading the charge. Its cannons cut through shields, its drones broke defenses, its soldiers landed on the surface, unstoppable in their advance. Inside the Golden Palace, the Emperor stood tall, sword in hand. His guards rallied around him. He was the giant of the galaxy, the ruler no one thought could fall. But when the palace doors burst open and human soldiers stepped inside, silence fell. The Emperor's blade trembled. His guards dropped weapons. He realized what the galaxy already knew. Giants could fall, and humanity had become the hand that pushed them down. The banners of the Dravari dominion burned, their fleets shattered, their throne world taken. Across the galaxy, shockwaves spread. The greatest empire was gone, destroyed not in centuries, but in days. On Earth, the president spoke once more, her voice calm. The giants have fallen. They thought they were eternal. They thought we were fragile. Now the galaxy knows the truth. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity does not break. And so the fall of giants became legend. The galaxy realized there was no empire too strong, no fleet too large. Humanity had snapped, and now nothing could stop them. The fall of the Dravari dominion shook the galaxy to its core. For thousands of years they had stood as the giants, unshaken, unchallenged. Now their banners lay in ashes, their throne world silent, and the stars themselves whispered a new name with fear. Humanity. The council chambers were nearly empty. Where once hundreds of voices shouted and argued, now only a few remained. Delegates sat in silence, trembling. The galaxy's greatest empires had fallen, fleets were broken, allies gone. Everyone knew the truth. The balance of power was gone. The humans had shattered it, but humanity did not celebrate with parades. They did not laugh or boast. Their fleets hovered still, ent in the void. Their armies returned to their worlds without a word. Silence spread once again. But this silence was not weakness. It was domination. On alien worlds, fear ruled every home. Parents whispered to their children, "Do not anger the humans. Do not forget what they can do." Leaders who once mocked humanity now begged for treaties, surrendering whole systems just to be left alone. Yet the humans asked for nothing. They did not take thrones. They did not enslave worlds. They only left one message across every channel in the galaxy: never again. But even those two words carried more weight than any fleet. The memory of the firestorm lingered. The images of shattered fleets, burning fortresses, and falling empires replayed across every system. Aliens stared at the screens and understood this was not just war, this was a warning. On Earth, the president stood before her people, her face calm, her words sharp. "We did not want this. We did not seek this, but they forced it upon us. And the galaxy will never forget the answer. Humanity was patient, humanity was merciful, but no longer. Today we wrote a new history. Today we reminded the stars who we are." Her words echoed across every human colony, and even further, aliens heard them too, trembling as they realized the truth. This day would never fade. It would live in fear, in whispers, in silence. In the ruins of the Dravari throne world, alien scavengers searched broken ships and shattered towers. They found human banners left behind, black cloth marked with white words, "Patience ends." That banner became a symbol across the stars, a warning, a story told in every corner of the galaxy. Even the bravest warriors lowered their voices when speaking of it. Admiral Zoran of the Vithari, the one alien who had always warned the council, stood alone on his homeworld. He gazed at the stars and whispered, "They will never forget. Humanity has become the storm." His people listened, and they understood. He had seen the future, and it belonged to humans. In the years that followed, no one dared test Earth again. Borders grew quiet, treaties signed without argument, fleets pulled back from human space. The galaxy walked carefully because the memory of that day was still alive. Children of alien worlds asked their parents, "What happened when humans snapped?" And parents always answered with the same words, "That was the day the galaxy learned fear." But for humans, it was not just fear. It was a lesson. They had been silent too long. They had been patient too long. They learned that mercy was seen as weakness and silence as surrender, and so they changed. The day humanity finally snapped echoed across centuries, not as a single battle, but as a legend. No song could capture it. No book could contain it. It lived in the stars, in the whispers of empires, in the silence before every treaty, and whenever the galaxy looked to Earth, they remembered. They remembered the firestorm, the fall of giants, the day the council broke. They remembered the fleets burning, the palaces crumbling, the silence breaking, and they knew no species would ever forget the day humanity finally snapped.